Yo, 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 it is your boy, Nice versus Wild, and you're listening to another episode of Beer Wolf Sessions. Thank you for tuning in. I am in Auckland, in studio, recording this session. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can go watch the visuals. Doing this very quickly today, actually. I've got a bunch of stuff on today, and I really wanted to get this episode out. I've been thinking about this idea in my head for quite some time, so I think you're going to resonate. This is going to be a little bit of hopefully a mindset shift session when you're listening to this, either on Monday morning or anytime throughout the week. Hopefully it lights up a little bit of love in your heart and gets you in the right momentum. If this is your first time listening, my name is Nazil Sashil. I'm a full-time creative entrepreneur from South Auckland. I was born in a rural Fijian village called Lambasa, Bonileka, and my mission in life is to write a story that beats longer than my heart. Now, big love to Feature Weddings for sponsoring every single episode. Without Feature Weddings, no Beer Wolf sessions will ever happen, so mad love to you. Also, I want to say, obviously the last 2 weeks for me personally has been super hectic. As you know, the last couple of episodes has been about the Great South Road Running Festival, and now the event's over. I'm a little bit less stressed because it takes a lot of effort organizing a community event, and I'm so glad it was such a success this year. We got to collaborate with so many amazing individuals, businesses, and charities, and I can't wait to do it next year. But let's get back into the rhythm of things. Now, today's session is going to be about standing up for love. And I talked about this recently. I don't know, this thought came in my head, and obviously there's so much war and fighting happening in the other side of the world, which obviously we can't, deny from. And obviously if you're running away from it, like you just haven't confronted what's really happening in this world. And I encourage you to go do your own research, your own investigations, your own analysis to understand what's happening. And if you don't have time to understand, like I get that. Life gets super busy, but regardless of what's happening, it is going to affect you in some way or another. It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but at some point, it will affect you. And I think it's realizing there's a couple of things, right? And I talked about this. And the number one thing, as the stories and the media bring articles of war on the other side of the planet, it could be anything right now between Israel and Palestine, and you name it. It goes to show the narrative can influence people's actions. Now, you're going to be thinking, nice, you're talking about this stuff. And I'm like, hell yeah, we're talking about this stuff today, because it's very important to understand these things so you can go into this world with a vision and a purpose that's much greater than your business, than your idea. You could be an artist, you could be a creative listening to these episodes, and it's up to you to take responsibility to bring about positive change in every area of your life. And I think when you do it internally, you'll be able to project it externally every single day. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. Now, there's so many narratives that the media portrays on the other side of the world, the Middle East, the Muslim countries, or even some Western countries. And I think it's understanding and being able to have the courage to go in and discover the stories and the narratives that you personally value. Now, in this conversation that I'm about to bring up, I'm not saying somebody's right, somebody's wrong. What I am saying is I need you to seek understanding, okay? Because there's this saying that I literally came up with in the car 2 days ago, is one man's problem is another man's purpose. Let me explain, all right? There's a war happening between two countries right now, right? And that is one of their biggest problems between each other, for example, right? But somehow the other side of the world is reacting, and it's giving so many people purpose to fight for a cause, purpose to fight for what's right, purpose to fight for what's within your soul. And I think when we think about life, without problems, there isn't life. And without us being able to go through the experiences of life and understand our own right and wrong, and really value how we want to see the world. And I think there's so much lessons and values to be able to learn from how this world is becoming. And I think if you don't go out and be your authentic version of, not authentic, but more the greatest impact within you may only still be on the bottom shelf or might not even be awake yet. And I want you to listen to this conversation and realize that the people try so hard to change everything. Change and go for change in environments and circles, and I've done that personally as well. And I've realized that in order for large-scale change to happen, it needs to start with you. And I feel like if you feel like that you're absolutely powerless right now, trust me, you're not. You've got a voice, you've got a heart, you've got good intentions. And if you're listening to these Be a Wall sessions, I know that you do, because you wouldn't be here listening to these if you didn't give a shit, to be honest. So whatever you do this week, this month, I encourage you to seek understanding in areas like, especially with what's happening around in the world. It's, to be honest, it's been happening for generations. This is just history repeating itself. And I grew up in a Muslim Christian family, and it was such a blessing because I got to understand two religions, and I've spoken about it in so many conversations. And the core foundation of both religions is love. And I just want to, if you don't get anything from this conversation, I want you to take the value of love and apply that principle to every area in your life. And I encourage you to seek and ask the why questions, and ask the why questions and why this type of stuff is still happening in this planet, in this world, in communities and environments. And realize that it's much greater than even my own narrative that I'm trying to convey to you right now. And if there's anything that you get, I promise you that love will always surface and always take over if you let it, and if you let your heart consider it as well. And I think I really want to highlight that point, right? So one man's problem is another man's purpose. And I think when we realize that there obviously needs to be problems, but there also needs to be the problem solvers, right? And when you create yourself in a world where you bring your own purpose and understand that the life and the experiences that you go through are clues to discovering what you are meant to do in this world. And it sucks, being able to feel like you're helpless. And I've seen a lot of friends and family, and trying to make somewhat of a difference, and it inspires even me, and inspires so many people around you. So it only starts with one person, and you can inspire a whole village, a whole country, a whole world. And I'm not saying that that happens overnight, but it can happen. And I just want you to take this conversation this week and take it to another level in the areas that you work in, that you live in, and the conversations that you have. Because you can still make impact at a small scale, which then leads to a bigger scale, which then leads to a larger impact. And I don't know, I just really want to get this off my heart, to be honest. And I think there's a lot of times we forget that, that we start feeling like we're not enough and we can't add value. And I know we've spoken about that in so many conversations, but I just need you to be honest with yourself, need you to be honest with your capabilities and your skills, and also be able to understand that, there's greedy people in this world, man. And there's people that don't see eye to eye for power. And it's all about, these narratives, these timeless narratives that people pass on from generations to generations, and it all goes down to these dinner table conversations that we have as family members, as community members, as society brings to this life. And we must realize that these timeless narratives, these values that we ingrain in the next generation, must stop. Because all these wars and these fights, these conflicts in countries of of the Middle East, or in Africa, and in Brazil, and low socioeconomic environments, is due to greed, power. At the end of the day, we must realize that it's the stories of hate, these narratives of hate towards each other that causes conflict. And you can't burn fire with fire. It's seeking understanding. And like I say, not once am I saying that I'm right, but I do know that in order for people to thrive, people to grow, and people to have a chance to live life to the greatest opportunities that they can come to, is realizing that we must love more, we must be kind, we must show each other empathy, we must show each other understanding. Everybody has a right to their beliefs. Everybody has rights to their own thinking processes. Everybody has the right to their own worldview, because that worldview is based on their lived experiences. And I don't blame anybody for doing the things they do, because it comes from a place of, it could be a place of, revenge and hate. I understand that. But you will never win that war. Not against anybody, and not even against yourself. All right. And I know sometimes, I feel helpless, because I feel so grateful to be able to, even have this conversation with you, whereas somebody in the other side of the world might not even ever be able to get this opportunity. And I feel like if we don't take responsibility for the opportunities that we've been given, we've wasted our own opportunity to make an impact on this world. And I think this is me trying, and I hope this conversation helps you to try. And that's, I'm not trying to tell you to go move mountains. I'm just trying to tell you that you have the power to try. And if there's anything that I want you to go away with in this conversation, is realize that one man's problem on the other side of the world is another man's problem on this side of the world. One girl's problem on the other side of the world is another girl's problem on this side of the world. One mother's problem on the other side of the world is one mother's purpose on one side of the world. As an artist, as a creative, this is a call to action to everybody in this planet. All right. If you can believe in your abilities and your skills, and if you have the confidence and the courage, and even if you don't, if you let love in your heart, the courage will come. All right. Hopefully this inspired, hopefully this filled a little bit of love in your heart to start moving towards the direction that you truly want to move. And I hope it inspired. All right. Thank you for listening to another Be A Wolf Sessions. To be honest, this is I had other stuff written in my diary this week, but I thought that this session is timely. And I think there's so much more stuff that I could dive into this. And I'm actually writing a book at the moment, and it dives so much deeper into these ideas, and hopefully it makes you understand the life I lived, and the values that I've been able to ingrain in my life experiences can have an impact on other people, to be able to create some sort of an impact towards their communities, their organizations, their businesses, their thinking process, and hopefully create a better world in the long run. So yeah, keep being you, keep being a wolf, and I will see you next Monday. Peace and love.